was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
You got a spot for it, and
And there's a swamp nearby, so
Oh, yeah.
red-winged blackbirds and all sorts of.
yeah, you got bird habitat.
I think one day we had identified, I want to say 21 different species
Yeah,
just from around that.
that's amazing.
I saw somebody,
The
because
reason
I'm also doing rock art notifications, if you guys are interested in that, I have
for
those.
2 weeks.
That last year they did a timeshare for a whole week.
A expert.
I mean,
They have different levels. Or
I
one
like
of
the
them is
idea.
decided he's 11 years old.
That's great.
Oh, there's Eric. He knows Eric. So it's got him.
I was just gonna ask, very good. I think Dave is doing what I have on this.
Yeah.
For sponsorship, you could call her, you could ask her if maybe could be more of a council. They're really what? Trying to get more sponsors. Yeah. Make a note to myself. He's not, John's not here tonight, is he, Kenny? No, he's actually on vacation. I was like, John, I don't know anything.
Oh, no, sorry, the new guy.
I was waiting for actually 5 PM, so I was, just waiting for the clock to tick 5.
Follow.
Time is 5 o'clock, we'll call this meeting to order. Thursday, July 11th, 5 PM, regular planning board meeting. Item 1, the term quorum, we have a quorum, any disclosure of conflicts of interest? Hearing none, we will move on. Review and approval of planning board meeting minutes on page 2.
Make a motion to accept.
Second?
We have a motion by Eric, seconded by, who wants it, Steve or JR?
Steve.
Steve. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Steve?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Maura?
Yes.
JR?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Motion passes, minutes are approved as written. Item 3, council liaison updates, any, Penny?
Our council liaison is not here and did not send a report.
Okay. Item 4, new business, neglectful. Oh, there's a typo on the agenda, Penny.
Arts.
Arts?
Oh, yeah,
I just noticed that.
yeah, so that would be art.
We can make it an art.
Some people have made an art.
Mm.
On page 3, we have a memo from Penny. Dave and Steve have worked together to put a neglectful acts ordinance together. Penny, anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, you have people in the audience, they might want to
I was-
talk about that.
I was
I
just
mean-
going to ask if we have, anybody want to come forward? You're here, so I'm assuming you want to come forward for something.
Do you have a copy of it?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
A copy.
I haven't seen it yet, so.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that could maybe be edited to clean up a little
Hi,
bit.
I'm Gail Hagelstein.
I'm sorry, what was your name, Gail?
Hagelstein. It's not a county name. Just letting you know. A member of the board dropped this off at our house a couple weeks ago and wanted to know what we thought. And we think there's some good items in here, but we think some of it needs to be tightened up a bit. One is almost all the way down, failure to follow through either option, that the city will come in and remedy the option, and any and all costs to remediate will be sent to the owner. After 60 days, if the cost continues to be unpaid, the city will add the cost to the next tax bill or attach a lien, whichever the city chooses. Well, in my opinion, it should be one or the other, or have parameters. Maybe up to this cost, it's against the taxes. If it goes higher, then it's a lien. But there needs to be a clear-cut understanding of that. Also, two methods of compliance are listed. First method is a call to code enforcement officer to acknowledge the issue and possible guidance with a timetable not to exceed 30 days to satisfy the complaint. Wonderful. Second method is to address the issue immediately and rectify the problem. What's the difference between the two? You have an issue. Which one happens with the first method? Which one happens with the second method? And examples of substandard issues are fallen trees, garbage, I would also add trash, rubbish, tires, appliances, unmowed lawns. What's the height on that, please? Because we had one up to my waist.
It's already in the ordinance.
Yeah, I went
The grass
looking
one is in
today.
the ordinance, it's 7
Right.
inches, I believe.
7, yeah, I found that today. But if you want to do this, let's include everything. Or do we actually need this? If most of this is in the ordinance?
I think those are just listed as examples.
Yeah, they're examples.
They're just, go ahead.
It does say unmowed lawns, trash. I think this is more, this allows the city to apply a tax and a lien, whereas that method wasn't there before.
Oh,
They had-
okay.
They had to do the dangerous, correct me if I'm wrong, a dangerous building. So this is another avenue that the city can employ to help mitigate and put some penalties in place.
Okay.
So we do have a property maintenance code.
Yes, there we go, thank you.
It's its own standing code, which addresses pretty much all the issues. And through that system, as violations are uncovered and listed, the city can apply a fine, and I believe it can be up to $100 a day for each day that the violation continues after the property owner's been put on notice. But it's kind of to get to the point to find that the violator is actually guilty of the violations, based on due process, there should be a form of a hearing. which would take place at the council level. So if the complaints come in and the code officer finds that, yes, these violations exist, then that property owner should answer to the city council, and the council at that point becomes a quasi-judicial body, so that the council can negotiate with the person when and what they need to do to bring the property into compliance. I think what Dave was trying to work at here was to put some verbiage into the ordinance explaining above and beyond the process with the property maintenance code, so that, and I think that the part that should be added would be that part explaining that there'd be a hearing held at the council level. If the property owners don't appear for the council hearing, that becomes part of the evidence when the case actually goes to district court. So I think a little more work needs to be done to tighten things up here. And it is, I think, a little bit wordy, but I think Dave was trying to bring it across in a kind of a pleasant manner. And the other thing I need to say is that I did have a conversation with Gail yesterday afternoon to kind of discuss how code enforcement works and ordinances and such things.
I learned a lot. I took a lot of notes, so I thank you for that. What I also would devalue the overall comfort of the neighborhood and community. Can we also put valuation? Because it's not just the comfort of where we live, it's what's the valuation of our homes, and is it going down because of these properties?
Steve, is that covered, the valuation, is that covered in the property maintenance?
It doesn't reference it, I don't believe, but I can say though that if a property owner wants to put their property up for sale and a fee appraiser comes to do an appraisal of that property, that fee appraisals start with the neighborhood.
Right.
So the first thing they look at when they're establishing property values, what's going on in the general vicinity.
If I may.
Mm-hmm.
Very much a rough draft, Gail,
Oh,
you know.
I understand that.
And I think that some reworking, I just said it before you had started, need be done, but it's a great step in the right direction.
Exactly. It is a step in the right direction, and we are very pleased that Dave came, mainly because of my husband's comments at the last council meeting. And so it is a start, but let's move on this quickly, please. Because some of us have been putting up with some of these properties for years.
So just so you know how it works here, so we'll have a public hearing, and then
Okay.
we'll vote on it, and then it has to go to city council.
Mhm.
They'll have a public hearing, and then they'll vote on it.
Mhm.
So it'll take a little bit of time, so it won't be tomorrow.
Oh, we realize that. If we can get it done in the 6 months, that would be great.
That seems reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I believe that is the goal.
Okay, because this is an ordinance,
Mhm.
does it need to go to the voters for approval?
No,
It just takes you and the council,
public hearing.
and then after the public hearing for the council,
Mhm.
is there a waiting period for that?
There's a 30-day comment, Penny, is that correct? 30 days after the city council votes.
Okay,
There's a comment and appeals. Yep.
sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you for answering my questions and listening.
Thank you. I would say anybody else?
Anyone else?
Question.
Can you come to the
Oh,
podium?
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry I'm late. This is a redevelopment meeting?
No.
No,
Planning
this is
board.
planning board.
Okay, thanks. Sorry I'm late. I didn't know it was gonna be this. Thanks. Thank you.
Do you want to come to the podium,
Please.
please?
Question is, who is going to do the
fine tuning of that draft in order to get it presented to city council?
Plan, so we'll go through it, we'll make comments.
You folks will, and get it
And then it can go,
massaged?
yes.
Okay, so it's you folks, okay, all right.
With-
What
with the
type
help
of
of the city
timeline are you
staff.
looking at? 30 days?
Well, we have to refine it, and then we have to vote as a board to
Okay,
send it to public hearing,
right,
have the public hearing,
right,
vote the ordinance in to send it to city council.
okay. But before the public hearing, what type of, 30 days? 40 days?
Hopefully the next planning board meeting,
Okay,
yeah, because
Okay.
it has to be, it has to pass, by quorum,
okay.
so everybody
All right,
has to be.
I just wanted, so this thing doesn't drag out forever, and who's gonna do it? You know, initiate to get this thing fine-tuned and the i's dotted and the t's crossed.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So Steve, how does this work in conjunction with what exists? Is it in
Yeah.
addition to?
It would be.
Is it,
It would
it's
esta-
this plus this?
Yeah,
or-
it would establish the format of how the city handles these problems. So as it is now, if a code officer sends the notice of violations and there's no response occurring,
Hmm?
the code officer then needs to ask to go through the manager and the council to get permission to see the city attorney, to have the city attorney take the case to the court.
So it cuts out that.
This would be a way that the city can become, the council being legislative body for the city.
So does it replace what exists?
No, it would be,
Because the language is still going to be there about going through this process. And I think Dave's intent is to cut
and
that short.
and they can look at the property maintenance code, again, as the list of potential violations. So the book is, you know, it's a 100, 200
Where
page.
did I go get it? While you guys are talking, just, if I need to write something down. let
And
me
it-
know.
and
Thank
it-
you, Penny.
And it does address health and safety issues. It lists certain things that, like even all the trim on a person's home is supposed to be treated. So painted or stained or, you know, so the wood is protected. It doesn't address pressure treated, being that it's protected. And other certain materials, I think cedar doesn't have to be treated. And,
So it gets quite specific.
yeah, it's a national code. It's part of the International
okay.
Code Council's, our building code. The what, six different volumes of building codes that the city's adopted or is mandated to apply. This works hand in hand with it. So it's a code for existing buildings more so than new buildings under construction.
Hmm. But this is an attempt to
Well, I think
shorten the path
And I
to
think-
to action.
And I think Dave's goal was the certain annoyance properties in Caribou,
Right.
in town, more so identifiable probably in the compact zone. And it would be, I guess, prudent for Caribou to look at the difference between homes in urban and suburban homes being due to the density of being in town. So loud parties, people roaming the streets all hours of the night arguing, you know, those are nuisances. So it's a way that as the problems grow, it lets the city move in a faster manner, I hope.
Well, part of my question is it seems like this is a new ordinance and we already have an ordinance. So moving forward, we're going to have two ordinances
Yeah.
rather than an amended ordinance.
If anything, our ordinance now states that Caribou has adopted the property maintenance code.
Mhm.
And these paragraphs can go into the ordinance at the same location as part of that.
Right.
So they can work together.
So you're saying this would be more of an add-on to the maintenance code?
Be-
More of
no,
an
it'd be-
explanation.
Yeah,
Okay.
be like a sub-paragraph, basically.
So I don't think it needs its own title.
No, I think it's gonna be a, oh yeah, it's gonna be a,
An addendum.
2.0
Right.
paragraph, whatever.
Because even the title I find awkward
Right.
Mm.
for what it's trying to do.
Yeah. Penny, do you have an idea of where this would fit into the ordinance? Or
Well, that isn't the ordinance, that's like the property maintenance code.
No,
So
no, no,
like-
no, our ordinance, like this paragraph or whatever.
Right, so I don't know what Steve and Dave had an idea, but probably in the housing section, because that's where we mention the property maintenance code, right? So,
Okay.
so in the section that mentions the property maintenance code,
Mhm.
then we would probably have a section under that that
Yeah.
would talk about this, like
Yeah.
kind of, like special rules of enforcement for
Yeah.
their property maintenance code.
So Frank, you're thinking reword the title?
Well, it sounds like we don't need a title. It's going to be embedded in as an additional component to the existing ordinance to start with. It's an attempt to streamline the process so out of compliance properties get in compliance
Mhm.
and there's some leverage
Yeah.
that code enforcement has without going through multiple steps and timelines and
Mhm.
follow-ups and
Right.
postings. And
Gives the city another avenue.
Mm-hmm. I think, let me just, I didn't bring my computer down. I'll look at that, look at it online.
The ordinance.
Yeah, the ordinance.
Madam Chair, this would just apply to civil violations?
Madam Chair, wow.
Well, we're speaking of Dave, so.
It's an excellent effort
That was
on your part.
Can you repeat that, Dave, Eric?
I'm just, my question was, the penalties, this is all gonna be a civil penalties, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
unless there's some other extenuating,
Yeah.
like, if it's drugs or something, then it would be, then the police would be involved already in different. But this part of
This is-
the problem would be,
Yeah.
either consent agreement or,
Blight.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just for clarification.
Yes.
Because, I mean, if they had hazardous materials or something, or
Right.
something else on the property, then,
But that's to be
It
found
could be
after,
considered-
you mean?
Well,
Dangerous, well, that would be
It would be
considered dangerous.
criminal, I mean, that would be
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
the criminal code.
well,
than
right,
the- like
yeah, I'm just
civil.
saying, this is all like, kind of what most people envision, just a dumpy property, without knowing about other things that are going on there.
Yeah.
So in our code and ordinances, under chapter 4,
Chapter 4.
which is building and housing.
Yeah.
So Article 3 is the property maintenance code.
Okay.
I guess, I don't know if anybody has their code book here. So,
Uh,
so then Article 3, property maintenance code, so then we have like section 4-301
Yeah.
was where we adopt the property maintenance code. 402 are the amendments, which will say things like the 7 inches for the grass.
Yeah.
And the amount of fines, or when is considered, the time that people have to be able to heat their house, that kind of thing. So then what this would end up being most likely would be section 4-303. Yeah, so 303,
Yeah.
which would be like maybe, so like the title for 302 is amendment. So then if it's 4-303, maybe that is,
43-A or something like that.
is enforcement, or, something like that. Well, I mean, what do you think, Steve? Like, because this is kind of almost like you know, enforcement of
It's an
this.
explanation of sorts, so, and I haven't talked to Dave about this, I bet in a couple of weeks. And so yesterday was the first that I had the opportunity to read this. And this, he must have been busy, because this seems different than when he left my house a couple of weeks ago after. But I think Dave's been in communications with some of the municipalities downstate to see how places like Bangor's been handling distressed properties. And so he's been doing a lot, communicating with other locations to
Not opposed to enforcement.
put this together.
What's that?
Not opposed to enforcement, that's good, maybe,
Maybe, I mean.
depending upon how
Whatever, I guess
word.
we think is the spirit of what's trying to, what it's trying to accomplish, but to me, it seems like it's trying to accomplish a different avenue for enforcement of the code. But that's just
Another
kind of.
tool.
Yes.
Any, I don't know, Penny, you're suggesting having. sending
Well,
this
it
out.
did,
Just
what
don't-
Dave, when I, the
Yeah.
last time I talked to Dave, which was at the post office on Saturday.
We always meet people at the post office on
Yes,
Saturdays.
that's right, yes, that's.
The landfill.
Oh, I didn't turn on my mic. My bad.
When I saw him on Saturday at the post office, he said, well, we want to get it to a public hearing as soon as we can. And I said, well, like, we have to count days, like, we have to be able to put it in the paper, and then it's 7 days after that. So the soonest you, and he's like, because I want it on the next city council agenda, but that isn't sometimes it's feasible, by the way, that the days
Yeah.
fall in the month, in
Yeah.
the calendar. But this particular month, 2 weeks from today, is after the next city council meeting. So even if you decided to have a public hearing in 2 weeks, which would be the soonest you could do that,
Yeah.
because of putting it in the paper, you're still going to be after the council meeting.
So when's the council meeting in August?
It'll be the 4th Monday, so it's like the
So if we put this on the
26th.
agenda.
So, I mean, if you had
the
some-
agenda, we would have time. If this is on the agenda for the August meeting,
Mhm.
we would still have time.
Right.
And then that'll allow us to massage this a little bit more.
Yep. So
And
what
get
you're
the
saying
wording.
is, so you're going to work on it on the 8th and then have a public hearing
2 weeks after
2
that.
weeks after that,
on the
which would be.
22nd.
Yeah.
And then it'll be on their agenda for the 26th.
Yeah, and thanks for giving me a lot of time, because like on the 23rd is when I have to have their packet ready.
So what you're
For
saying.
the meeting on the 26th, but
so what
it's
you're
doable because you can
saying-
preload it, like if you think
Right.
that it's gonna.
Right, if we get it, you know.
Right,
maybe-
if by the 8th, you're like, okay, this is what we think we're going to go
Yeah.
forward with,
Yeah,
and there's not a lot of public comment on the 22nd, then, you know, basically, I can have the things ready for the packet before, you know, before the meeting.
You're not here on the 8th?
I am not here on the 8th.
Is John gonna be here, or
As
should
far as I
we-
know, yes, he will be here on the 8th.
Could we bump it to the 30th? Wait, hold on, I'm looking at May. Could we bump it to the 25th?
Of July?
No, I'm sorry, the 1st. I lied, the 1st.
Well, the 1st, I'm also not here.
Penny, penny, penny.
I know, I'm a problem person. But yeah, I'm not here.
I just want to give us time to word it.
So what are the things that you think you want to fix? I guess let's start with that and see how much, I mean, there's not a lot of it here, so I can't think it's
gonna
going
be
to.
one
it's-
paragraph.
Right, so it isn't going to,
Well,
you know.
it's difficult to know how this fits without seeing the.
Seeing the code.
seeing
Well, I
it.
can certainly go.
Some things
Yeah.
the title didn't fit for me. It talks about notifying the property owner. It doesn't talk about how that happens. In any process that leads to a penalty, I think there needs to be in writing.
Right, so typically what we do with a notice of violation is we send them certified return
Right.
receipts.
But that's the kind of thing that should be in this language here, not just notify.
Yeah.
Just
Certified.
see the guy at the post office and tell him.
Right, right,
No.
right.
um,
I mean, you can hand deliver
And
them
then
too.
7
but
days,
We don't typically do that.
to me, seems a quick turnaround to get a response.
Right, we typically give people a little bit longer than that, because sometimes people don't sign for their certified mail right off either. So say
Yeah.
we put it in our mail on a Tuesday, and maybe they get a green card, in their, or whatever,
Right.
well, that they get, and they say, well, I'm not gonna go down to the post, because so if it comes at your house, you're gonna have to go to the post office to sign for it, so.
So you're saying there's this whole process of
Mhm.
steps and
Yeah.
timelines
Mhm.
that exists.
And then sometimes we get the whole thing back because they never go to
Right.
the
They
post
don't sign
office to
for
get
it.
it, and
Yeah.
we have a lot of those.
And what Dave is trying to do is short circuit that into.
Right.
And is that possible? Do we?
I mean,
do
the
we
only
add-
way
do we
that
add
would
this
be
other paragraph
possible-
that's a shortcut? Or do we look at the existing process and see if there's ways to make it shorter without adding a different process?
I think if you shortcut some of this stuff, you're gonna run into trouble with the court.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
the biggest
then how
problem.
can we do this at all?
I know, but I
The
think
council
you
is-
really gotta, you really gotta keep it consistent with state law though, because I think the court will somebody can make a case and say, that the court throws it out. They weren't properly notified or,
But I believe that the idea of what Dave is referencing with these other towns, cities, municipalities.
oh, no, I agree. I don't know 7 days is gonna hold up. Because there's a lot of, I know there's a lot of governmental agencies that can't do things that fast, and it's kind of in statute, so I'm not just
Yeah.
picking on that, but
Well, I mean, and
maybe it's gotta be 30 days or whatever. I guess we'll have to research that. I
Steve
don't know.
mentions due process. I mean,
Yeah,
If it- if
and
the
that's the
guy-
reason.
If it's something like a health issue,
Right.
Yeah.
the animals are getting into unprotected bags of garbage, and failed septic systems is another health issue. We can act immediately on certain things.
Right.
But again, if you had a tree fall on your front lawn last night, and it takes you a while to get it cleaned up, because it's raining today, there are certain things that, maybe a month is the right number. Back with the DEP, you'd work, a 30-day schedule?
Pretty much.
And pretty much everything in code enforcement is on a 30-day schedule. But if it's a health or an imminent safety issue, yes, the city can act immediately. The thing is, what Dave's goal is, if the property owner enters into a consent agreement with the council, so that can be an exchange of the council has agreed, we'll give you 30 days to do this with a $100 fine. Just like it works in real life. If they don't do what they should have done in that 30-day period to rectify the problem, the council is on really solid ground to say, let's take them to court. Because the consent agreement becomes evidence. The fact that the minutes of the council meeting, that becomes evidence. And the person with the problem has agreed to correct it, and they didn't. So Exhibit A, Exhibit B in court, and then the court can fine a person up to $100 a day for each day from the day that they entered into that consent agreement. So if it's a month, the court can fine them $3,000, and that gets their attention. But
Can I ask a couple of questions? Just general opinion. We're saying that 7 days seems like a short time frame, but that's just for them to respond to the complaint. They then are given 30 days to address the issue. I don't think we'd want to go 30, then give them another 30. I could see stretching 7 days to respond to the complaint to 10. And then they receive from that notice 30 days after that. They've got 40 days using that as a time frame. It doesn't seem unreasonable. Just my opinion.
No, all I'm suggesting is we got to make sure we're not, these numbers we work with are going to be firm, because I don't want stuff to get thrown out on some technicality, which happens a lot.
I think a lot of the guidelines from the state of Maine are 10 days for the person with the problem to respond.
Yeah.
So if we're de-
And whatever
if we're
number it
dealing-
is, I'm just,
Yeah, if they're dealing with the failed septic system, they have 10 days to get back in touch with the local plumbing inspector to come
I
up with
would-
a plan.
I would definitely suggest changing that to 10 days. Penny, is this something that that we would ask our lawyer to review before?
Oh, yeah, we'd have them take a look at it.
Yeah.
You know, once you get it kind of packaged
Fine-tuned.
and, yeah, and
Yeah.
what, but I mean, you wouldn't have him review this. This is like the first stab.
Well, no,
Yeah.
right, but before it gets.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And he's good about reading over it and getting right back to us, so it's
Okay.
not a big deal.
And MMA might
Yep.
take a look at it also.
Yeah.
If other communities already have it, it would be on file at Maine Municipal.
Mhm.
So they'd just reference it to what other communities have done.
Do we want to try and figure out dates then instead?
Do you want to have a workshop or?
I would suggest a workshop.
Yeah, workshop might be a good idea.
Let's do it. Anybody else want to do a workshop?
Is anyone opposed to doing a workshop?
I was like.
How about
anyone
that?
Opposed.
So when were you thinking about doing the workshop? Like before the end of the month, or?
I would say yes, but
Right, to get it ready for review on the.
I mean, did you
8th.
want to do like Thursday? I mean, if you want to keep it on a Thursday, do you want to do it the 18th? There's not on the 25th, there is a Thursdays on Sweden Street. Fingers crossed for better weather.
I will not be here on the 8th.
Okay.
Well,
so-
I mean, I'm leaving.
not
that-
available.
I'm driving that night.
Okay.
What about, nope, can't do that.
I mean, the night before the 17th, I mean, are you available? I know people don't usually do things on Friday, so.
I could do the
Um,
17th.
I could do the 17th, possibly.
They have Rotary that night. I don't know if anyone.
Oh,
is in
shoot,
Rotary.
no, I got asked for that. I mean, I also have
Okay.
possibility of going to that, yep.
Okay.
What about
Uh,
the 24th?
I have to present at Rotary that.
I believe that there's Rotary 3 weeks in a row, right? 17th,
Well-
24th, 31st, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Although the 31st one is kind of just more of a social thing.
It is, yeah.
What about the 1st? You're not here.
I'm not here. I know.
And 31st is Rotary?
Mhm.
What about the 3rd? No, what about,
I mean, the 30th, I'm here the 30th.
Mhm.
I'm here the 29th.
can we do the 29th?
It's a Monday.
Wow.
It's a Monday?
I mean, I don't know how, are other people like, by Monday evening, they're ready to be done with Monday? I don't know. But I'm used to having, meetings on Monday, so it's not a big deal for me.
Anybody opposed to the 22nd?
No, I can't do the 22nd. We have,
29th?
yeah, the
I lied.
29th though
I
is
lied.
also Monday.
29th? Hearing no opposition.
Yeah,
So what time do you want to have it on the 29th? I mean, do you want to have it at 5? Do you want to have it at 6? Or have it at 5:30?
Earlier the better, or 5:30.
I mean, 5, everyone seemed to get here for 5,
I
so.
think you did get here for 5.
Then you still have more of your evening.
Let's do 5 PM.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I'll research some of these questions about the,
Yeah.
you know, these dates, you know, if, you know, we've discussed the 7 versus 10.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Penny, can you send us the existing ordinance on property maintenance?
Yep, sure can.
That chapter 4.
Yep, sure can.
Lovely. Moving on, old business. Comprehensive plan discussion. Do we
So-
have any additional sections that are ready for review?
Well, she has the economy section done, but I
Okay.
told her I would take a look at it before sending it out. But the big thing is, has anybody looked at theirs besides Amanda to bring back? So Frank, I see you have a packet. Did you
do.
make notes?
You want written notes? I could write some.
No, I mean, if you
I just
have,
a couple comments.
you have, oh, just some comments, like
Well-
in general, or?
There's a section on, talking about agricultural land,
Mm-hmm,
and it talks about trying to preserve that and encourage development in urban areas. My concern is, or my proposal would be have a goal looking at solar development,
okay,
and it's the balance of that with maintaining agricultural land is a goal I'd like to see in the plan.
okay. So, goal balancing. the
Solar development with maintaining good agricultural land in the city. And there are some resources that exist.
Okay,
Maine Farmland Trust has.
Maine Farmland Trust?
Yeah.
Okay.
CRP, is that another resource? CRP?
Oh,
Put CRP in there?
that was my main observation, that I thought it was missing.
Okay. Anyone else take a look at the sections in the comprehensive plan and have any feedback on any of that?
I had some notes, Penny, but I didn't bring it.
Okay.
I can shoot
You
you.
can,
the email.
yeah, and you can always email those, or if you've got the notes on there, scan them in or
Yeah.
something. Karen is away for a few days, but she will be back.
Okay.
Penny, you were up.
Oh, staff report. So, grant updates, if you've been down to the power plant site, EPA is mobilizing down there. I've talked to them every day this week, and they're trying to get different things set up. They're having issues with equipment, getting water down there, those kinds of things. But they are working on all of that. They did send a crew up. I guess this really isn't the grant, the Brownfields grant part, it's more the circle action. They sent a team up to visit the neighborhoods to disperse the fact sheets that they have on the action. Haven't really got a lot of comments from them, apparently. DEP got one comment, which was then forwarded to EPA. So they'll be working on that through October. So when they are finished with that, then we can start on our Brownfields grant. project, which is to take down the diesel plant. Karen has had, one of the challenges we've had is kind of engaging the very close neighbors there with Versant Power and also the dam. But Karen was able to reach the right person about the dam and had a very long conversation with them. So she has sent them the fact sheet and also information about the Brownfields grant. So I think now maybe we'll have a better relationship going forward with the owner of the dam. So that's going on there. With an update for the MBRC grant, the 1st of July, County Environmental was on site working on the Phase 2 environmental site assessment and the hazardous building material survey. So we are very fortunate that the Maine DEP has been such a partner with us with these activities, and they are actually funding. They funded the Phase 1, they're funding the Phase 2, and they're funding the hazardous the inventory of hazardous supplies, I don't know, hazardous materials. So they are, that work has been done, they're preparing the report now. So those things are important as we're doing the reviews to submit to MBRC before the property is purchased. County Environmental was also the contractor that worked on our NEPA site review. All of that has been submitted to them, and the letters, we have to send letters to our Native American tribes to see if they have any assets or anything down there that might be of cultural significance. And so those letters have gone out, and they have a period of time to respond to those. So we have had some work on that. We're very anxious to get these things behind us so we can move on to putting out an RFP for the Riverfront Master Plan, because that's a big part of that, the grant also. On the Caribou Mill Pond project, that was a congressionally directed spending request for $4.4 million. And that one, we really thought we were getting somewhere, because we had a new project manager through the federal government, and he sent out a lot of emails, and we had a Zoom meeting, and then he went on vacation for a month. So now we really haven't made any progress, and our emails come back. I am now back from vacation, but I'm trying to get caught up, so it'll probably be 3 to 5 business days before I get back to you. So we're hoping to get back on track with that, because that's another one that we'd like to get put out and get a project manager and get someone to get started on that project. So in 2025, we can hit the ground running for that too. One of the really exciting projects is at the library. And do you want to talk about that at all, Gail? Or you guys talk about that at your meetings? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you want to talk about it, or do you want me to talk about it?
I'm on the library board, and...
Do you want to come to the microphone? People, I'm sure, get tired of hearing me talk about stuff, so if somebody else can talk about something, that's great.
I don't remember, because it's been months and months, but Peter came to the board and said, we have this wonderful opportunity to write a grant to transform the library, and it would depend upon what we would want to do. Now, we're an advisory board, so all we can do is advise Peter. If you know Peter, he has ideas coming out of his ears all the time. And so what the grant is about is to redo what is known as the reading room, the back room. Replace the windows so birds don't keep flying into them and dying, and adding telehealth rooms, a conference room, moving things around so there's more opportunity, because its main connectivity, more computers and more access. And he worked hard and smart on the grant. And he submitted it. It's just under 2 million. As if you read the paper, you realize we're getting it. The issue was there were several other grants, and ours is the largest one. When I say ours, it's the Royal R's. They have to go back through their budget to find the money to get all of it for the Caribou Public Library grant. And so Peter was involved in the contract meeting last week, or this week?
It was last week.
Last week, okay. And then there's another meeting next week?
Yep.
And then in the beginning of July, August 8th?
August 9th.
No, okay, close enough.
Mhm.
And then the real fun begins,
Mhm.
where the architect is hired, all the paperwork is signed, the contract is 50 some odd pages, and hopefully within 6 months or so, we get to have part of a brand new library. It's exciting. Peter's done a terrific job. We're very happy with him, and we're very happy for all the work he's done. So that's.
So it's going to add a second floor in that new part.
Yes.
I guess that's
the mezzanine.
important.
It's coming
Yeah.
across,
Mhm.
except there will be a rectangle in the middle, so that there's light coming down, light coming up, and there will be an elevator in the far back corner, because we have to have it ADA compliant. So, anything else?
Nope. And we'll have ADA compliant restrooms in there too. and-
Yes.
Yeah.
Peter's actually getting an office.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a closet where the silo is for the pellets. That's coming out. We're building it in between that, in that area. So that will no longer be an empty, waste of time area. That's where his actual office will be. So I think that's what we're all most pleased about. Because if you've ever tried to talk to Peter in that, "Hi, Peter, how are you?" "I'm fine, how are you?" So that's it. It's exciting.
Yeah,
Thank
so as Gail shared with us, this is almost $2 million and it's no match. And it fits with the strategic plan that was developed by the library board, I think, and with Peter. And so their strategic plan was approved by the city council, and one of the things was for expansion. And here we are in less than a year later and really have a handle on getting that done. So it's really exciting. I mean, there's a lot of exciting things going on at the library. I mean, also through the Maine Connectivity Authority is the Last Mile project, and I haven't received an update from Charter for a while, but they were working on pole permits. So if you live in an area that's not currently served by Spectrum, they're bringing it to you with a grant also through the Maine Connectivity Authority, which is the library one is with that too. We're also working on the Village Partnership Initiative, which is with the Maine DOT. We had a meeting, kind of a public meeting, and started to get some feedback on just the different areas where there's issues with traffic, accidents, maybe trying to reimagine some different places in Caribou to make it easier for people to have non-motorized ways to get through the city. I mean, one of the things when the person was here from DOT, and there's snow everywhere, and at a certain point in the winter, there's no room for any more snow. And this wasn't this year. This year we were not bad for snow, but this was the previous year when he was here. And there's snow kind of in the road, and then you have the people in wheelchairs that are the motorized wheelchairs. And I was so glad they were out that day. It was actually a really nice day when they were here, and it was probably February, March. And And I'm like, this is why we want to do this. Like, it's so dangerous when you have them that are on kind of the side of the road because they can't get up onto the sidewalks in the wheelchairs. And, you know, even I noticed the day that we had this total solar eclipse, and I actually went down to the statue to watch it. And of course, all of the lights are off, and then it gets dark. And we have people on bicycles, we have people, you know, in wheelchairs, and we have people driving their cars and their lights haven't come on yet. And I'm right downtown and I'm like, I'm gonna witness an accident down here because there's just, you know, there's so many decision points as you're coming like up Main Street and coming around the square that are just potential for issues. And they've identified a lot of that through the Village Partnership Initiative. So those are the different grants that we're working on. Blight, as the people that are in the audience tonight can attest to, we are still having issues with chronic nuisance properties, and we have been working with the owner of 91 Collins Street. And does he have anything in the third dumpster yet? I think he must have got his third.
They didn't bring it back.
They didn't bring it back?
Oh,
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they took it this morning.
Oh, they took it this morning, okay. I'll have to call him on that because I think he said he was gonna have more than just those two dumpsters.
Everything's full.
Was everything, yeah,
it was full.
everything.
Everything's full.
yeah,
He's been digging out and it's still full.
okay.
The garage door, person door is open. 111 siding has been moved over, so there are 2 entrances to that. Oh, toxic, in
Yeah.
my opinion, garage.
Yep. So we have been working with him. He had a court order to have the inhabitants of the property removed. And the date came for that, and they were gone. And immediately, they had squatters coming in. And every day, the police department was there, yeah, yes. The concerned neighbors were calling, or running right down here personally to say, these are people that are here. And so our police department kept pulling them out and pulling them out. So the owner posted it for no trespassing, and then our code enforcement office also posted it as unfit for human occupancy. So all of the, I guess all of the conventional entrances have those signs, but maybe we need to put one on the side where it's torn away. 20 Pioneer has also been another chronic nuisance property that we have received many calls on. And we really thought we were getting somewhere. Like we thought, again, that so 91 Collins, we thought we were getting somewhere because he's literally had 2 big dumpsters taken away, but I'm surprised that the third dumpster didn't come, so, because he's going to need a couple more dumpsters there.
Yes.
It's so full of trash. So 20 Pioneer, we kept every day calling because we had sent out a notice of violation and said, if you don't clean it up, then we're going to come clean it up and send you the bill. And finally, the day came and John, our new code enforcement officer, said, I've been up there and there's a truck and they're putting the stuff like on the trailer. And I'm like, what a happy day, we're finally making some progress. Only to find out, so then last night after the CUD meeting, my phone is blowing up and people are sending me posts from Facebook that apparently the trash from 20 Pioneer ended up on someone else's property. And yeah, and then the neighbor came in today and showed me pictures that there's like trash wedged between, along the house that I thought they had probably taken out. Nope, that trash is still there. They just took kind of the bigger pile of trash from the backyard. Yep. July 1st, which has been since our last meeting, was Mr. Barretto's day that he was given by the court to have his property, his notice of disposal order. He was supposed to have that cleaned up. Our new code enforcement officer, John Gibson, and I visited him on July 2nd. He seemed to be expecting us. I asked him if he was expecting us, and he indicated that he was expecting us. So we've gone there, we've taken pictures, we've put out an RFP for someone to come in and clean it up. And we're hoping to have those bids opened and something approved by the council at their next meeting, so that we can have someone go in there and get that cleaned up. 61 Washburn Street has also been an issue. They have until Monday the 15th to clean up their mess. I don't think they will, but we have been able to, so I had contacted our rubbish haulers, and they won't even take anything over there. So we actually had to reach out to someone who does that as a business to go and actually pick up the things and put them on a trailer and then take them to our licensed landfill. And I guess maybe that's where I'm going wrong, is maybe I need to put in there, your stuff needs to end up in the landfill, not in someone's yard or whatever. And I don't have Facebook, so I don't even know where it is. I just kept getting pictures sent to me wasn't this the person that you're chasing on Pioneer? Yeah, it is. Well, their stuff didn't make it to the landfill. So those are the things that we're doing. We sent out another bunch of notices of violation for different things, grass, rubbish. So, we were working on these people, and we've started another group of people to work on also. So those folks have, I don't remember what we gave them for a day, but end of the month, I think, maybe the 29th. So it's just blight all day, all night. Anyway, I will be out of town for the next meeting on the 8th.
Okay. Thank you, Penny.
Yep, you're welcome. Don't go there with the paper with me right now, because they did such a hatchet job of my Monday appointment and they haven't responded to my request for a correction.
You're so articulate, that's what I was pointing out.
I would entertain a motion.
I would motion to adjourn.
I have a motion by JR. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Steve. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Steve?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Maura?
Yes.
JR?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
We are adjourned at 5:59 PM.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Night all day, all night. Where'd you come up with that one?
It's just the reality of my life, Mark. I mean, you think I'm kidding, but do you know how many hours I spent on the phone talking about this?
Your last email was at 10 PM, wasn't it? The one
Maybe.
for this, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, you can keep it if you want. Do you want to make changes or something? Yeah, it is.